Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to make over these items and we're going to put them in a vignette. I'm going to start with this birdhouse. I think it was galvanized at one time, but it's been painted black and never finished. So we're gonna make this over. And as you probably realized by now, if you've been watching my channel long, I love to paint birdhouses white. And so, again, that's what I'm going to be doing with this one. And then adding some stamps. So I'm going to give this, because it's already been painted black and I have a good color to distress to, I'm giving it 2 coats of, this is Rust-Oleum white chalk paint. And I'm not sponsored by anyone, but this is just what I happen to have on hand, and so I said I did 2 coats, but I think I had to do 3 coats in places, so this was a little bit hard to cover. So now I'm just taking a baby wipe once it's dry and doing some wet distressing. Chalk paint can be wet distressed as long as it hasn't been sealed first. And at this point, I haven't sealed it. So just something that's damp, a damp cloth or a baby wipe, you can just kind of rub it and it'll take that paint off very easily. Now, I'm using a French Country stamp on this one, a set that I bought quite a while back. And I tried to look up the name of that and wasn't able to find it. I'm pretty sure it was by Redesign. But I couldn't find it. So if anybody knows the name of that, please leave it in the comments. But like I always say, you can use any stamp that you want to on this. You're not limited to certain types of stamps. I just happen to like the French Country look, and there's lots of French Country looking stamps out there. So, like I said, anything will work. And I don't even think that I'm using, all these stamps that I'm using are even from the same set. But I'm just going to ink them up with black ink because I do like the black and white look for the French Country look. And I'm just trying to find what fits, because I'm just going to put what fits because they all kind of have the same style. So I'm just going to put what fits here. And I'm just going to add stamps where I feel like there's a lot of empty space. I don't want to overdo this, but I don't want either side to look really plain. So I had this little bitty one here that I thought would fit down in this area. And then the back, I'm just going to kind of haphazardly put stamps here and there, and I'm not going to try to be exactly even. I just want to fill some of these areas up in what I think will look good. Now, I said before, I'm going to start in the future when I order these stamps and different items, I'm going to start keeping up with the names better, because like I said, I've just had so many of these for so long that I just don't keep up with the names. But I am going to start doing that better later, so that I can let you guys know if there's one that you would like to have. So the next item that I'm going to make over, I had thrifted this item, and it's just a little piece of decor, a little tabletop decor. I don't even know what to call it. But this is a Hobby Lobby item because I saw it had the sticker on the bottom. And I want to keep this green, but I want to brighten it up just a little bit. And so I gave it 2 coats of this kudzu green from Dixie Belle. And it covers really well with 2 coats. And so once I get this covered and let it dry, then I'm going to be going back in with some white wax so that it settles in the creases of all this detail, and it tones this green down, but it also adds some character to this green. And I forgot to mention that I finished that birdhouse off with a clear coat. So I just used Rust-Oleum matte finish spray paint and gave it a clear coat. so that I would seal that chalk paint in. And you can see the difference here that this white wax makes in this green. And the next item is this little planter. It's a little urn, and it was already green. Again, it was just a more of a dull green, and so I'm going to use the same kudzu on this. And I give this a couple of coats, let it dry. Actually, I think I only give this one coat. Let it dry well, and then I did cut the footage out on this accidentally, or maybe I didn't even get footage of it, but I used the white wax on this also when this is dry. And then this ends up being a very, very quick flip. And I'm not worrying with the inside so that you can put plants in. Whoever painted it before didn't paint the inside either. So I think that made a big difference in that. Now this piece my husband made with a little fence panel. As you can see, that little that little bottom part there is just the top of a fence panel. And so he just cut that about 4 inches long, and then cut this the middle part probably about 10 inches long, and 45 the top of it, and then put 2 little trim pieces there. And it makes a good little shelf sitter or a little wall decor piece, but I'm going to be using it as a shelf sitter, so I'm not going to put any hanger on the back. But I just give this one good coat of this Rust-Oleum white and let that dry. And now I'm going to be adding some decoupage. And I just got these napkins at Marshall's. Marshall's usually has some good decorative napkins that make good Mod Podge or good decoupage napkins. And I'm just wetting a little paintbrush here, and so that I can tear that easily in the crease, because I don't want to cut it straight. I want it to be somewhat irregular, but I'm just wetting it so that it will tear easily. So once I have that torn to fit, then I'm just going to be using some Mod Podge and decoupaging that napkin on. And as you can see, I just used that single layer, the outer layer of the napkin. There's always at least 2 layers, and a lot of times there's 3. But this one just had 2, and I just used the outer layer. And then I did use a little circle stencil and put a little black hole there, just to make it look like it had a hole. I don't know what happened to that footage, but like I said, I just used a little circle stencil and put that hole there. And then I went over the edges with some sandpaper and just kind of distressed it a little. Now I'm taking some brown antiquing wax and just kind of haphazardly adding it here and there. And then I'm going to take some clear wax and just kind of smooth that out just to blend it in. I'll do another video in the future where we do some of these little houses, and I can give you more details on how he built the house. But for now, I just wanted to get this little vignette finished, and he had some of these made up ahead, so we're just going to be decorating this one. So now we're going to be using this little ledge here and some Spanish moss, and just putting a little makeshift nest on it. It doesn't take a whole lot to make this. I just put it on there with some hot glue. So I just glue it down on the bottom there, and then just kind of hollow out the center somewhat, and add some more green moss just to give it a little extra character. And that's really all there is to this little nest. Then I'm just adding a couple little styrofoam eggs that I got at the Dollar Tree and just painted, and then that will finish the little nest. also have some eggs that I have made out of clay, but these little styrofoam ones just happened to be the right size that I needed here. So I had planned on putting a few in there, but 2 was enough. And when I finished this part, I decided that it needed a little something extra, and I thought about putting a little sign on the top, and decided to add some floral to the side of this. And I think I made the right choice in that, because I think it really helped the looks of this piece. So I just took this little pick that I had bought at the Dollar Tree and just kind of cut it apart so that I could just add some little sprigs to the side. And I love this little lavender part of the pick because it really goes with the lavender in this decoupage napkin. And I think that adding a little bit of this floral just to one side is just enough for this little piece. And I was happy that I didn't put the sign on it, because I think this really had a lot better look. I'm excited to do some of these because there's so many things you can do with these little houses. And I even thought about making a pattern for a little church done this way also. And now just that one little sprig to cover that stem there is, I feel like, all that this little birdhouse needs. And I really like how this little piece turned out. My plan today was to set up this little vignette on camera like I usually do, but I just couldn't seem to make it happen today, because this is set up in the entrance of my store. And while my store was pretty slow today, my husband's business, and I share a business with him. He has a landscape materials yard outside, and then I have my gift shop. But his customers come in to pay, and I just had a lot of traffic in and out today. And like I said, this being in the entrance, there was just no way that I could set up a camera and decorate it. So I just had to kind of decorate as I could, and then just come back and show you guys what it looked like in the end. I want to say thank you to all you guys for supporting my channel. I continue to be amazed at how well it's growing and how much you guys have supported me, and all the sweet comments. It's so easy to get disheartened with everything that's going on in the world today and all the ugly that's around us. But it's a breath of fresh air to realize that there's still so many kind people out there. I've always thought in my neighborhood that we have so many kind people. But when you hear from people all around the world, and you realize that kindness is just everywhere. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and God bless you and your family.